Oh, it speeds up. It legitimately doesn't let you run it over. Understandable. Thank you for coming in. I do like how they actually programmed it to where that chocobo, this little chocobo, can run faster than the buggy, so you specifically can't run the chocobo over. Alright, so looking for this thing, so I'm assuming we go this way. Final Fantasy VII Remake is straight up exactly like this game. It's just set in, you know, they keep referencing Midgar. Final Fantasy VII Remake is the Midgar chapter. So, it took me about 42, 43-ish hours to complete, but yeah, it's the Midgar chapter. If you're playing the PS5 version, called Integrate, it also has a Yuffie side mission that you get. You can also buy that Yuffie side mission as DLC, but it's only playable in the PS5 version. So, regardless of whether you get it digitally or physically, if you play Final Fantasy VII Remake, I would definitely look for the PS5 or the PC version, as they include Integrate, where the PS4 version never got Integrate. Which Integrate, as I said, is just a couple hour long Yuffie chapter, but it is related to the story. So, but the main reason I keep pushing that Final Fantasy VII should be played before Final Fantasy VII Remake is the fact that Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth that you're seeing right now is very, very much based on the idea of Final Fantasy VII happened. This seems to be happening as well. And how is that possible, and what's going on? Which is partially answered in Remake, and they're starting to expand upon here in Rebirth. But yeah, besides the combat being slightly different, and if you play the PS4 version, of course, the graphics being slightly worse, yes, Remake is very much in this style. This is literally Remake Part 2. So let's see here. What did I just get? Swallow Song. Okay. That's decent. Yeah, and for reference, if it's listed as the PS4 version, if it's listed as a PS1 Classic and it's actually running the PS1 in an emulator, yeah, you're playing the original. If it's listed as, just for PS4 or for PS5 and it's not listed as being, just straight up running the PS1 game in an emulator, then it's technically playing a port of a port, as the Windows 98 version, they still have the source code too, but apparently a lot of the original source code for Final Fantasy VII PS1 edition was lost, and so all of the modern ports are All the modern ports are ports of the Windows 98 version, just enhanced and cleaned in some way or another. But yeah, if it's a PS1 classic on PS3, then yeah, you're literally playing the software of the PS1 game. But if you're playing it on pretty much anything else, then you're playing a port of the Windows 98 version. Yeah, apparently they just didn't keep very good track of source code back in the day, so it was a little more difficult for them to port some of those old games because they have to either work from later versions, or sometimes they have to actually kind of like build it from the retail version backwards. Okay, so how do I get here? Yeah, I mean, Doom, they had a much better record keeping on Doom, where legitimately, I think the attitude of it back then was a lot of the American companies were very much like, oh yeah, we want to like preserve this and make sure we've got every version possible, and have it ready to where we can port it and make it run on later versions. So we need to take careful care of the source code. Where as far as I know, a lot of Japanese companies back in the day were like, all right, we released it, next project, and just kind of had that attitude of like, yeah, whatever, next project. And so they didn't keep as good of records on a lot of those companies. And therefore, some of those games have their original source code just gone because they went, okay, we need that space. Just wipe that hard drive. We'll just use it again. Screw it.
We're a dangerous dance.
Rare sand spinner variant of Hugo. Sky protocol. The dual drum sand spinners are a diet of which it injects along with a keeping helping of grit and rock. So satisfying. The creature holds its reserve as it weapons smell more prey. Such evolutionary adaptations part of the course of this air vinyl. Analysis of this variant will offer a greater insight into life is affected. Your assistance is much appreciated. Can't say I'm surprised.
Like, I know for a fact they had to do that with Final Fantasy VIII. I'm not 100% sure on Final Fantasy VII. But yes, Final Fantasy VIII, they absolutely lost the original source code and had to port using the Windows 98 version. Or maybe it was Windows XP, but yeah, they had to use the Windows version.
That was very impressive work, Cloud. Using the data from your battles, I've devised a new trial for the simulator.
Which I supervised.
I think you'll find it to be a
Can we just delete Chadley and replace him with Mai? Yeah, id Software, I'm pretty sure kept, honestly better records back then. Yeah, I mean, Mai is just a more interesting character. But yeah, Giga Chadley, if anybody wants to Photoshop Giga Chadley, I will absolutely use it. Otherwise, I'm one of these days going to take the time to make Giga Chadley. I've just honestly been kind of busy and lazy. I was thinking just like, you know, make his picture black and white, give him like shitty stubble. Just give him an oversized chin. But like keep the stupid hair he's got. Oh, I'm pretty good at it. In fact, I could show my most recent silly thing that I photoshopped. Here, let me see here. Properties. Yeah, let me get my most recent silly thing I photoshopped. Just waiting for my computer's actual hard drive that I stored a lot of that stuff on to boot. There it is. So the question comes down to, Retro Toaster, have you seen the game Okami? And, you know, Zelda, of course, this is a question for you as well, but have either one of you heard of or seen the game Okami? So make this bigger, unlock. I could have done better, but I cranked that out in probably like 30 minutes. Yeah, and I hand drew the word Doge instead of going and finding the Okami font. I was like, but lazy, I can just draw it. But yeah, that was like a 20 or 30 minute, you know, Photoshop job. Anyway, away with the Doge. Yeah, I've thought of if I redesigned the layout a bit, I could show the box of the game and, you know, try and do like intentionally shitty photoshops of the boxes of some of these games. Was Okami ever expensive? I feel like Okami was one of those games that because it's on PS2 and PS2 Greatest Hits and Wii and PS3 and PS4 and I think Switch, that it had so many versions. I'm used to it being one of those games that was just horribly overprinted that just everybody could get and there was never high demand for. I don't remember it ever being expensive. Now, one game I can remember getting super expensive super quick and then dropping back like a stone was Katamari Damacy. The original Katamari on PS2, they released it in the United States, and they must have done under 100,000 copies of it. Yeah, so they must have printed under 100,000 copies. Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of photoshopped crap. Let me see. Let's see. What's some other crap I've photoshopped? I mean, technically, if you look at the majority of my emotes, those are all slightly photoshopped. Yeah, let me dig through the shit that I've got and see what would actually be something I've photoshopped besides that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about this one. I never actually exported this one. Oh, most of them are. Oh, I know one for sure you have seen. If you've watched Jank Jesus' stream, Retro Toaster, I know 100% one that you've seen that I've done. Where is it? This one. You 100% have seen this one. Yeah, I did that. That was maybe an hour or two. No, it was probably 45 minutes to an hour. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, that one. It's specifically a Photoshop of the iCarly Wii game cover. I mean, there was this ridiculousness that I'm not even sure why I did. I just thought it was funny and I did it. Making RuPaul's horrible wig into a porcupine. Let's see. Other random shit have I put together? I mean, there's lots and lots of ones where I've done casual photoshopping of, like, you know, adjusting a picture because it was bad quality or something. Oh, there was, let's see. There was one where I was trying to find the soundtrack to Twilight Princess on vinyl, and I can go into why this was difficult, but I was trying to find it, and it was not easy, so I was basically asking people to trade it to me or sell it to me. And let's see here, where is it? Where is it? I just saw it. I absolutely just saw it. Oh, yeah. This, where I decided to shittily Photoshop a picture of myself shopping with a bunch of Morbius bullshit. That one was intentionally bad. Let me find the one I did for when I was looking for Wind Waker. That one was actually a lot of effort. Let's see. Yeah, where's the one I did for Wind Waker? Here it is. It was called Wind Waker. Where is it? Also, have you played Zelda Wind Waker? I know Zelda has played Zelda Wind Waker, but have you? There was this one, which is gigantic, so I need to make it a little smaller, and I'm going to see if I can shrink it without showing it to you. Yeah, that ought to be an appropriate size, but above the webcam. Bink. Though in 100% seriousness, let me find the most famous thing I ever photoshopped. If you were looking at the internet about probably 5 or 6 years ago. This stupid thing got passed around the entire frickin' internet. And okay, I need to sort by name. I'm looking in a bunch of files. View, sort by name. Okay. Let's see, it's under S. There it is. So this one actually got spread around the entire internet. Right here. You may have actually seen that hit the official Star Wars website. It definitely hit like the 501st. It hit a few news places. It hit a bunch of things. So you've seen that one. Yeah, I made that. I can prove that I made that if you want, but I absolutely made that. And so the thing about it was that was, let's see. Zelda, have you seen that stupid meme? But yeah, so let's see, where is the source files? Is this the original Photoshop file? Yeah, this is the original Photoshop file. So, first of all, I still have the original Photoshop file. But, so, to prove that I am the one who created this, if we go in here, and we need to look in my old... Where's my folder of old shit? Oh yeah, it's under S. There it is. So yeah, if I wanted to just prove to you that this is a compilation, here's the original. As you can see, that is a composite image. That is not in the original. As you can see, there's no plunger. The reflection in the toilet's the same, but there's no handle. There's no book on the toilet. There is no lid. The lid is not, there. That lid was photoshopped. If we go in here and we look in the same exact folder, you can find the one with the plunger, which for some reason is cropped. Oh yeah, this one was actually cropped. This is not the wide shot. But yeah, you can see that the plunger base, it's literally just a plunger stick held in front of the lightsaber to give the right glow and to give the right reflection in the toilet. But it is 100%, it's made out of like, let's see, how many images is it made out of? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a composite of 7 images. But yeah, the story behind that is ridiculous. So what happened with that is that it was actually, I made it in Photoshop. And the reason I made it in Photoshop was somebody, do you know what the website rebelscum.com is? Yeah, so it used to be the #1 website for autographs and like prop replicas and stuff like that. And it was the #1 place years ago.
This must be the sandstorm.
Anyway. Oh God. It's the bot. It's Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 is attacking me.
Glorious presence. And lo, whither should it lead me but these sweltering sands?
What is this thing?
No way.
What misfortune for you to venture so far for treasure already claimed. You would do well to leave, that I may collect what is by rights mine.
You think the proto-relic is yours?
Proto what now? Relic, you say?
Yeah, it's a pure Star Wars website.
Ridiculous name, unworthy of my treasure. What you knaves covet is none other than a prize in my resplendent arsenal. The get. Uh-oh. Oh. This form. I can hold it no longer. Oh, no, down I go.
So, what was that?
I'll tell the story once this cutscene's done.
Thank goodness I finally got through. Are you alright?
I'm fine. But what the hell was that just now?
I'm investigating the matter as we speak.
I'll be glad to very
In my
clearly
initial
go
analysis
over
of
it.
the sand entity, I detected a proto-relic-like signal. I'm unsure how they're connected, but I fear we might be after the same thing.
Of course we are.
There's no telling where it might appear next. Please, be careful.
Okay. So the story behind that was I used to have a Mark Hamill autograph. I sold it when I was broke. And now Mark Hamill's charging way too frickin' much for his autograph. But anyway. And if you hadn't noticed, I am sitting in an Ahsoka Tano chair. But anyway. Story of the Star Wars toilet. The Star Wars toilet story comes down to there on the website Rebel Scum. There was a little contest that was kind of impromptu, that was mostly trolling, where we were showing off prop replicas. And somebody was like, oh, well, can we post like homemade prop replicas in it? And so somebody was like, yeah, you absolutely can post your homemade prop replicas. And somebody posted one that they were apparently really proud of, but was super, super terrible. And we were like, all right, are you trolling us? Like, this is intentionally bad, right? Like, this has to be trolling. And so let me see if I've actually got that picture still. Where's that folder? There we are. Let me see if I've got it. I don't seem to anymore. But anyway, it was a really, really shitty quality intentional Photoshop of like a pipe that had been covered in brown duct tape. And it was sitting on like two little support stands, and it looked terrible. And so somebody actually like took it and, well, I'm sorry, it was just a pipe and covered in duct tape. So they took the pipe covered in duct tape, and then they photoshopped it sitting on a little stand. And then I photoshopped a fake plaque that said, replica 1 of 1 duct tape and pipe saber. And then somebody was just like, photoshopped it even further, being like, what if, you had, since it's a pipe, what if you had like a replica pipe wrench? And then somebody was like, well, what if you had like a replica, that was like, I think they said, like, what if you had, like, a toilet snake? And I was like, oh, what if I take this concept way too fucking far? And Photoshop an entire Star Wars bathroom. And so I got the idea of, why don't I Photoshop an entire Star Wars bathroom? And I spent like 9 fucking hours on it, where I sat there and I was like, all right, let's take a bunch of shots of the bathroom and let's go ahead and do this, and we'll, Photoshop it like this, and, we'll add in this. And yeah, I was like, all right, what if we had like a lightsaber plunger, and what if like Darth Sidious's, lightsaber was like the flush handle, and then what if we had like a Star Wars book sitting there, and then what if we had like a Millennium Falcon toilet lid, and like it just kept going and going and going and going and going, and I just added more and more and more bullshit to it. And so yeah, it started out where, I went into my own bathroom, which, if anybody has ever wondered in that picture why the tub is gross and why is there a broom in the tub, it comes down to, we used to have a really disgusting roommate who had actually fairly trashed the bathroom of this crap apartment we used to have. And they had kept their cat in that bathroom almost exclusively, and that cat had like torn up the fake vinyl that was over the concrete, and she'd kept the cat box in the bathtub because she didn't want to clean up the litter. So it was really gross, and I had literally, like, she had moved out like maybe a week before I got the idea, and so we hadn't had a time to like thoroughly clean it. And so it was actually kind of gross. And that's why it's a little bit nasty. And we didn't use that bathtub for, maybe another month until it had been like thoroughly cleaned. But if you look at it, that's why, in there, the lightsaber's sitting there, and the lightsaber's there to provide backlighting and to make it look real. And then what I did was I took a plunger and I put it on the floor and put the lightsaber directly behind it, and we held the lightsaber in the exact same position, just like holding it there by the handle, and then removed the plunger so that we had the light coming down as well as the plunger in the exact same spot, and then proceeded to put the lightsaber from Darth Sidious, which I had an actual replica of, on the toilet to get the illumination reflected in it and to give it the right ambiance and the right real lighting. And then I proceeded to just shrink it down in Photoshop to replace the toilet handle. And then the book is actually sitting there. It was legitimately sitting on the floor in one of the pictures. It's just there. Now, the toilet seat is complete Photoshop. I never owned a Millennium Falcon toy of large enough size. So it's literally just a picture I found on the internet, and then the lighting around it's real, but the lighting on the lid is Photoshopped. And most people picked up that it was fake. That part was fake. But everything else in that is just a multi-composite of probably like 7 or 8 different angles all chopped together in specific ways to make it look real, because most of it is real. It's just using a bunch of things. Like, I didn't own a lightsaber plunger. There is no lightsaber plunger. The way I did it is it's a lightsaber next to a real plunger. I didn't own a toilet with a Darth Sidious, lightsaber flush handle. It's a, it's a Darth Sidious prop that's about that wide, just shrunk down to like this big in Photoshop. It's just scaling. But yeah, that's the reasoning behind that. And so I created it. I posted it one time in that one thread to the Rebel Scum forums and didn't think about it. I made my meme. I made my joke. I spent 8-9 hours on it because I'm a weirdo, and I posted it. And then like 10 or 11 years later, I see it posted. I'm like, what the hell? Why is that around? And then I see it posted again and again and again and again and again and again. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? How did my meme that I made like 10 years before start spamming itself all around the internet? And unfortunately, I couldn't get access to that computer because that computer was in storage in another state. And so I didn't have access to actually go to the original source file to really claim credit for it. When it was still a, meme. But if you look up Star Wars toilet or Star Wars bathroom on Google, it's still like the 7th or 8th result. There's still news articles about it if you dig right. So yeah, that is the story behind it, Retro Toaster. There you go.
The signal is growing stronger. Perhaps there is a proto-relic in the nearby reactor.
You mean that thing?
It's been altered. Though it doesn't appear these modifications were made by Shinra. Whoever's responsible may be waiting within. Proceed with caution.
The Retro Toasters, does that answer your question about the existence of that ridiculousness?
That's some sort of monster's den. A fortress, if you will.
Whatever it is, I don't think we can get inside.
Whoa. Commencing scan.
Oh God,
believe I have a map.
it's holographic Giga Chadley.
Symbols resemble those found in the Book of Kings, an ancient tome. Allow me to translate.
Isn't the Book of Kings literally part of the Bible?
Interesting. Well then, in order to unlock this door, you'll need to locate a cactuar rock hidden somewhere in the desert.
What kind of rock?
A mineral deposit named for its distinct cactuar shape. Now that Cloud has made contact with this door, the rock we seek should be marked by a green glow. By the way, do you happen to see a cactuar-shaped statue anywhere nearby?
Really? You're that dense? It's like right next to the door.
That's it! That statue should guide you to the rock I spoke of, which in turn will serve as the key to the door.
So we must prove ourselves worthy.
I know you can do it.
Hold the cactuar statue aloft to find which direction. No, this isn't completely exactly like Shadow of the Colossus. No. And it's not like it's right over here, is it? Let's see. Is it pointing to that same area? Let me guess. It's right over here where I've already been. Yep, called it. Yeah, unfortunately I could not take credit for that meme, just due to the fact that, as I said, I didn't have access to the original source files at the time. Yeah, it's just bizarre to me. I still have zero idea to this day how it went from a single JPEG posted a single time on a single thread to being literally fucking everywhere for like a week or two. It's just bizarre to me. I don't get it, honestly. But yeah, you were saying that your brother is like actually aware of that stupid meme. Yeah, I don't know how. Like, it was literally everywhere for like a week. What I'm guessing happened because I tried searching it out, going like, hey, you know, did somebody just like browse old, you know, forum posts and find it and be like, haha, that's silly? Or how? Just how? And as far as I can tell, that forum post is gone. Please don't make me fight them. Oh, God. All right, we're going to assess these.
I got your number.
There we go. But yeah, there. I have no idea. There was one posting of it, and somehow it got dug up 10 years later.
What are you doing?
I'm not doing.
Oh man, that was hilarious. Hey, do you think there are any more of these amazing rocks out there?
Applicability is most impressive. Whatever. Let's go.
Yeah, I ended up going back to the original computer, digging it out of storage, and then being like, okay, now that I've dug this silly thing out of storage, I can actually go back and prove it to a few people, but I was a little too late, but at least now I have access to the original source file if anybody for some reason wants to see it. But again, that was way too much time on my hands. I don't know why I spent like 9 hours photoshopping that fucking thing. And honestly, a large part of that photoshopping time was the fact that the tile looked like crap. And I was trying to, yeah, the tile looked like crap, and so I was trying to fix the tile.
We better find it first.
Yeah, because most of my photoshops have not taken nearly that long. And most of the photoshopping I've done is things like adjusting the size of something or like changing lighting, you know, things like that that are actually useful.
them, the proto-relic is the treasure of the sands, it seems, which they have kept safe for generations.
Why do they have
Moreover,
bits?
they are duty-bound to ensure its safety until its rightful owner comes to claim it.
Wonder who that is.
For all we know, it could simply be a myth.
You're saying these guys have their own fairy tales? Sounds pretty silly to me.
Hang on a sec. Who are you calling a fairy? Whoa! No need for all that. Name's G, Kid G. Descended from a long line of goblins. I look after these cactuars. It's a duty passed down to me from my forebears.
Wait,
I'm sorry, I still don't like the 2 R's they say.
Speech ain't that hard, lady. Where there's a will, there's a way. Given your present company, I'm shocked you haven't shaken that preconception.
He does have a point.
I'm sorry, I expect that guy to talk like,
Given, pretty lady, I'm amazed you haven't dodged that preconception.
Quote Cactuar scripture, the Book of Kings. Unto those who seek the treasure of these sands, a trial shall be given. If you think you've got what it takes to be the treasure's rightful owner, you're gonna have to prove it first.
where'd they all come from?
oh god.
And now your trial. Take down the Cactuars within the time allotted.
Oh god.
If you can.
Please don't be an actual
Oh,
battle.
It looks like we have ourselves a volunteer.
Who? Me?
Okay. Sure. Let's try this.
Make way for the amazing Yuki. Get lost!
Okay, this is way less awful than I was thinking it would be. Okay, how do I kill these quickly?
Run like a chocobo. You're going down. Get lost.
This is kind of annoying sounding. Sure, good enough. I don't care.
You're always welcome to try again, you know.
Wait, I have to go at least 1,000? I thought I just had to finish it and stay alive. Bah! Yeah, the noise this makes is kind of ridiculous. Okay, that was annoying, and I got over the minimum score, so we good? That is not an event I want 100%.
Gotta say, I'm impressed.
You gonna hand over the proto relic then?
Never heard anyone call it that before. But I'm a goblin of my word. So here.
I was never sure why the goblins looked like that in Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII's remake.
And so, as promised, your piece of the prize.
Piece? We want the whole thing, Shrimp.
Then you're gonna need to go around and gather up the other bits. Put it together yourself.
Right. So what you're saying is...
That more trials await. And that yours truly will be your guide. See you next time.
Just noticed OC isn't around today. Okay.
What an unexpected and exhilarating turn of events! An ancient treasure guarded by an army of cactuars and a goblin! Not to mention the mysterious giant of the sands and the Book of Kings!
Didn't Billy Mitchell have some sort of
I believe I'm rather excited!
some sort of controversy around him
I've
recently?
already picked up another signal from the proto-relic, or rather, the treasure of the sands. Head for modular reactor 2.
Say, how many of these mini reactors are there anyway?
Several.
Okay.
These modular Mako reactors were erected throughout the desert as a means of generating and supplying power to the gold saucer. To avoid accelerating the desertification of the region, the reactors are periodically cycled between active and dormant states.
Who would have thought all that glitz and glamour came at such a high cost?
In any case, the reactors have been ingeniously repurposed by the cactuars, and within these fortresses, they may secure
It
their
still
treasure.
annoys me that they say tuars instead of tars.
Is this combination of sand and cactuar nectar?
You don't say a centaur, it's a centaur. And it's written just like centaur. So it should be centaur, it should be cactuar, not cactuar. Yeah, it's cactar. You know, when I first read that, I was actually a little more impressed because I thought you were saying that you had a Pac-Man Funko Pop signed by Billy Mays. And I'm like, that's incredibly random, and I'm amused by that. But Billy Mitchell is different than Billy Mays, of course. It would be amusing to have something like that signed by Billy Mays, though. I've actually got a fair amount of stuff signed by various actors and a couple musicians. Most of them I actually met in person. I guess I'm not as interested in buying like pre-purchase autograph or pre-signed things because it's like, yeah, you didn't meet the person. It doesn't have quite the same connection. A 2003 Ultimate door handle signed by George Washington once popped up on eBay. I only make the exception to buying pre-signed items if their autograph is super hard to get or if they've already died. Yeah. Like, I could see that if it's somebody you wanted. But, yeah, I feel it's much more impactful if you meet the person. But, yeah. And it wasn't like, you know... How could you... how would anybody ever think that a Nissan Altima door handle could ever be signed by George Washington? And I assume we're talking about George Washington, the president. That being said, I do think it's a little weird whenever there's like some of those sports cards, and in the sports card they're like, oh, you know, we put in like 3 George Washington and like, you know, 2 Abraham Lincoln autographs, and they're like, you know, super, super rare and all that. And sports card collecting is very, 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 very strange to me because, you know, you'll see something where it's like, oh, I don't know, let's say it's a Derek Jeter baseball card or something like that. And, you know, let's hypothetically say that a Derek Jeter autograph is worth, I don't know, $200. Let's just say that's what it's worth. I don't know. I might be high. I might be low. But let's just say it's worth $200. And then they're like, oh, here's a Derek Jeter autograph, and it's on this card. And the card they only made one of, you know, and it's like a holographic foil. And then they're like, okay, here's a holographic foil signed Derek Jeter card. And they're like, oh, well, that's worth like $10,000. And I'm like, but why? Like, what makes it to where something where the autograph on its own is worth, you know, a little bit, but then because it's on a one-of-one sports card, it's somehow worth like, you know, $40,000 or something fucking ridiculous. And I'm like, why? I don't get that. I've also seen things where they're like, oh, here's a scrap of a jersey. that's worth, you know, $500,000. I'm like, but why? It's like a little scrap, like this big, of like the corner of a jersey one in some game.
Upon analyzing the data from the life spring, I was able to locate a new transmuter chip. The chip can be found in a village abandoned due to desertification. This erosion will spread if left unchecked, and eventually, the entire village will be swallowed by the sands. Do try to collect the chip before that happens.
Yeah, and what I'm getting at is, even if we're going to talk about it, what I'm getting about is that, hypothetically, I'm saying, like, what if Wayne Gretzky signed a piece of paper versus a pre-signed card you pull out of a pack that has Wayne Gretzky's autograph on it? And then they're suddenly like, oh, well, you know, because it's signed by Wayne Gretzky on this card, it's worth, you know, $300,000. I'm like, but why? Why is it that the card, which would normally be worthless or maybe $5, is, you know, cheap? And then the autograph might be $200, but then because it's an autographed one-of-one card, it's worth, you know, $50,000. That's the part I'm not understanding. Because I understand, you know, if it's like, oh, you're collecting it because the card is rare. Okay, that might make it worth $200-300. You know, it might be one of those things that, yeah, the card might be $200 or $300, but they act like because it's an autographed card, especially if it's got a scrap of some, you know, random person's jersey on it, it's worth stupid money, and I don't get it. I also don't get why Post Malone dropped literally $2 million on the One Ring card from Magic the Gathering, the Lord of the Rings set. Like, yes, there's one. Yes, it's got an alternate art. Yes, it's the only one of it in the world. But why was it worth $2 million? Yeah, I completely agree with that, and yeah, it's utterly strange to me when, as I said, the ones that contain like a scrap of a jersey, yeah, that's never made sense to me. Why, like, because there's a scrap of a jersey in there, suddenly it's worth a shit ton.
All right.
Then again, I've also not understood the mentality of, do you know what a box break is when it comes to cards? So a box break is where, let's say that for some reason you wanted a piece of a box of really, really, really expensive Pokemon cards, which, again, Pokemon cards shouldn't be that expensive. Well, let's hypothetically say you want a box of it, and buying a box of Pokemon cards is $300,000, and I'm not exaggerating on that price I just said. And it's like, oh, you know, you can't afford it, so you're going to pay, you know, like, you know, $5,000 to have the right to get every Nidoran that comes out of that box, or every, you know, green card or something like that. and you're basically buying a share of it, and then somebody who goes online, buys the box, and then sells the pieces of the box, 10 packs to you, 3 packs to Retro Toaster, 4 packs to me, 1 pack to Hallian, whatever, something like that. And all that for more than the box cost, so they're making profit on the box, and then they open them on a live stream with, gloves, and then, send out in some sort of, like, protective box all the Nidorans or all the, New York Yankees cards or whatever you're opening. And I think it's very weird that it's built up this culture of like, oh yeah, we're gonna like split the box, and you're gonna pay me like $4,000 for a share of it, and I'm selling 10 $4,000 shares to pay for this box, and it's like, okay, you paid for the box and made profit, but why the people are willing to pay for a share of it is the piece I don't get. This being said, I have Magic the Gathering cards, but I've also thought it was silly that some people are like, oh, well, I need the serialized one. Okay, yeah, sure, you want the serialized one? That's fine. There's only 300 of it, but Magic the Gathering serialized is the biggest fucking joke. Because it's not like, oh, there's an alternate art and it's super cool and it's like signed by the artist with a real signature, or like it's an actual watercolor or something like that. No, it's a regular ass foil card that you can buy for $10, that they put a tiny little stamp that says, like 13 of 200 or whatever number you pull. And it's 13 of 100, and people are like, oh, well, this card that I normally wouldn't even want, that's just terrible, in foil, that's like $5, I'll give you $400 for it because it's got the serial number on it. And I'm like, but it's the same damn card. Okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, grading. Gotta love grading. So I love how PSA Joe's Sakic rookie card is $300, while PSA 10 John Elway rookie is $8,000. So I gotta say, the reasoning for that is I don't follow football one damn bit. Not a bit. I know who John Elway is. I don't know who Joe Sakic is. That's why. But again, my question is, if you were to have an if we were going to use that John Elway card, let's say you had that John Elway card and it was perfect. It hypothetically would grade a PSA 10, but it's ungraded. It's just sitting in a sleeve, and you've got it in one of those like screw down top loaders. And all that, how much would that card in perfect condition be versus how much is it once it's gone into a little plastic container that has a little 10 on it? How much does that add? If that adds any more than about $50, it's bullshit. I'm sorry, grading as a concept is bullshit. Whether we're talking about comics, whether we're talking about cards, we're talking about, video games, especially video games, it's just stupid. I don't agree with grading at all. I do agree with having hard protective boxes you can put your game or your card or your comic into that are openable, where If you want to protect it in a hard plastic box, all for it. I have no issue if you want to take your sealed copy of Super Mario Bros. 3 and put it into a nice hard acrylic box to protect the fact that it's sealed, and you want to let it sit there. No problem. Zero. My issue then comes down to the people who go, oh, because it's sealed in this box and because WADA, decided that they are going to shove their little 10 number on it, that now it goes from being a $300 game to a, $10,000 game.
Anybody want to check out that tower?
Yeah, the fact that they claim grading adds thousands of dollars is ridiculous. And the problem with that is the majority of people believe that. If it was one of those things that the majority of people were like, yeah, grading's a scam, which it is, and they realize that it's a scam, we wouldn't have these people doing it. But the people who think that any sealed or really nice game or card or whatever being put into a box suddenly adds thousands to it, yeah, that's just stupid. Okay. So you have some signed games in a protective acrylic case, and someone told you to get your sealed copy of Big Rigs graded. So, again, I guess my issue doesn't come down to is it graded. I don't care. What gets me is when people act like a grade adds a ridiculous amount of value. That's the issue. Because, yeah, if you want to say that, you want to grade it, sure, that's fine. Grade your copy of Big Rigs, pay the, $200 or $300 or whatever the hell they charge, get it graded. I don't care. But if somehow that Big Rigs over the road racing goes from whatever the hell it's worth to, hundreds, if not thousands more, just because it's in an acrylic box with a number on it, that's where I think it's stupid. Also, the fact that WADA in particular has been shown many times to have artificially inflated their own prices. So there's been. Have you noticed how there was never any proof about that $2 million copy of Super Mario 64? Where is that? Who has it? Where's it on display? Who has it in their collection? What's their name? They claim that they sold it, via heritage auctions. Where? Prove it. Prove it. Same thing with the copy of Mario Brothers, the pre-release hang tab version that supposedly sold for whatever it was, $150,000. Again, where is that? Who paid for it? Where's the receipts? Prove it. But then the issue with it is that they look at it and go, okay, we don't actually need to sell it for $2 million ever. I guarantee you what it is that WADA and those other people are, going in there and they're going, oh, look at this. We sold a copy for $1 million. Well, you know, we have this copy that's not quite as nice.
All
You know,
right then. Let's start looking for those cracky cactuars.
yeah, we have a copy that's not quite as nice. You know, if we graded it, it'd probably be a 9.3 instead of like a 9.9. But yeah, but you can have this copy for 10,000. I know the other one sold for, you know, 100,000, but this one you can have for a cool 10,000. And then people go, "Oh, sweet!" And then, you know, that story goes like, "Did you know that Super Mario 64 sold for $2 million? Oh my god! You should go look in your closet. You probably have gold." And then, you know, idiots see that story without doing a damn bit of research. They find their copy of Super Mario 64 that has, you know, been sitting in a bucket full of other games, you know, that's, you know, covered in sand, scratched to hell, you know, has the marks from when the dog chewed on it 15 years ago. And they're like, "Oh, here it is. I found my copy." And, you know, I know that that person sold theirs for $10,000, you know, sealed and in great condition, but, you know, mine's loose. I'll charge $2,000 for it. And that's how we get inflated prices on games. Yeah, it probably is money laundering. Or if it's not money laundering, where, you know, there's no actual money, because they never proved it. They never proved it one frickin' bit. But at the same time, they don't really have to prove it. All they have to do is make the claim that it sold, and then sell one that's not quite as nice, and actually sell it for lots and lots and lots of money. And right there, you've completed your money laundering scheme of it's not true money laundering, but it's artificial inflation. I know there has been a lot of art that's been used for literal money laundering. A lot of those times where you see, like, you know, what's a perfect example? Polar bear in a snowstorm or something like that, where it's like a dot with like two dots next to it. And they're like, "Oh, it's polar bear in a snowstorm. We're going to sell that for $500 million. And guess what? You buy your piece of art for $500 million. You've made a legit purchase. You trade the money. And then, or I'm sorry, you trade your bag of, you know, cocaine for this painting. You sell the painting for actual money. Supposedly sell it. And instantly you've legitimized things like drug money. So that's how you do it. It's happened many, 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 many times. Okay, that sort of thing is bullshit that just happened.
I won't.
So you mean that the gyroids from Animal Crossing look like the cactars? because the cactars actually predate Animal Crossing by at least 3 or 4 years. I'm being silly. I'm sorry. That came off a little
What are
asshole-ish.
you
I'm
waiting
sorry.
for? Go on, touch it.
Ladies first.
Oh no, you're way better at the whole putting yourself in harm's way thing.
Fine.
I've actually never played Animal Forest, the original, N64 cart.
Are you kidding me? Why me?
Word of advice? Don't fight it.
Yes, heed the voice of experience.
I think I have the GameCube game somewhere.